Hey guys, before we get started, I'd like to give a special shout out to GP aka Grandpappy aka the Warrior God for helping me with today's video. Let's get started. The warrior is a front-line combatant known for their strength, resilience, and proficiency with melee weapons. Warriors specialize in close-quarters combat, acting as the primary tanks or damage dealers, depending on their build. The first build is what GP uses himself. This build is based on the R1 Soul weapon. The skills are War Rampage, Cleave, Whirlwind Slasher, and Execute for the XP skill. War Rampage jumps and stomps on target, dealing 400% damage and gives a shield equal to 10% HP for 6 seconds when maxed out. At R1 level 2 bond skill, War Rampage slows nearby targets by 20% and restores an additional 10 will to fight. This skill will be good for engaging fights and chasing enemies. Next is Cleave. This skill deals high damage to enemies, and targets hit by Cleave will take 20% more damage. At R1 level 4 bond skill, Cleave will have 25% chance to trigger a second time. Next is Whirlwind Slasher. This is a skill all warriors need to use as it does the most damage over time. The warrior will spin like a whirlwind, dealing damage to 3 enemies and increasing damage reduction during this time. The R1 Soul weapon will boost Whirlwind Slasher at levels 1, 3, 5, and 6 bond skills, making it an even stronger skill. The XP skill for this build is Execute. This skill summons flame swords, dealing a huge amount of damage and restores 50 will to fight. The sub-skills increase the skill's damage and boost the hero's damage by 20% for 10 seconds. For free-to-play, I would recommend using the second XP skill called Berserk. This will activate God of War to boost the hero's attack and basic attack range, while also recovering 15 will to fight per second for 30 seconds, which will be great to help the Whirlwind Slasher skill last longer. The sub-skills will also increase the warrior's critical hit by 40% and attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds. This is what the R1 Soul weapon skills look like at max level. As you can see, the Whirlwind Slasher is much larger in range and will generate 5 small tornadoes, dealing 100% critical hit damage. The Whirlwind Slasher also costs 40% less will to fight and takes 50% less time to cool down to make it last longer and be able to cast it again in a short amount of time. Use this build if you want to be a tanky warrior. The skills are War Rampage, Blade Formation, Whirlwind Slasher, and Berserk for your XP skill. This build focuses on defensive skills that gives a shield, increases damage reduction, and heals the hero based on damage dealt. The last build is based on the R3 Soul weapon. The skills are Charge Slasher, Blade Formation, Frenzy, and Berserk for your XP skill. These skills focus on basic attack, attack speed, and reducing enemy movement speed. Frenzy increases attack speed by 62% for 10 seconds. Its sub-skills increases the warrior's attack and damage by 20% for 10 seconds. The R3 Soul weapon will significantly boost this build's skills and damage. For warriors, you also want to upgrade the skills that increase your defense, tenacity, and block rate. For your mount skills, you want to focus on tenacity, which reduces the time your character is paralyzed, and block rate, as well as control, resist, and dodge rate. Overall, warriors are essential for both taking and dealing damage, often playing pivotal roles in battles due to their durability and combat skills.